The night sky above New Geneva City was quiet. Stars shone brightly. People walked through the glowing streets, unaware of the danger floating above them. High above Earth, a massive alien ship stayed hidden. Its outer skin bent light, making it invisible to human satellites. Inside the ship, the Tyracon warriors stood in silence. They were tall, silver-skinned, with glowing red eyes. They did not blink. They did not speak. A voice broke the silence. "The Earth Diplomat will arrive at the Peace Building in 6 hours," said the Tyracon commander. "We strike in 5. He turned to his soldiers. "This is not a war. This is removal. Take the girl. Kill anyone in the way." Back on Earth, inside a tall glass building, the Earth Diplomat, Sarah Lynn, stood before a mirror. She was young, confident, and smart. Her voice had stopped wars. Tonight, she was preparing to meet leaders from across the galaxy. "They trust me," she said to her assistant. "For the first time, Earth is part of something bigger." Her assistant smiled. "You're a symbol of peace now, Sarah." Outside the building, a man stood in the shadows. His name was Commander Rayan Cross. He wore a black coat, hood up, hands in his pockets. He watched the diplomat through the window. He didn't smile. He didn't move. He whispered to himself, "They're not here for peace." Rayan walked away from the light. He pulled out a small device, shaped like a coin. It lit up blue, then red, then blue again. "They're close," he muttered. Raye knew the Tyracons. Years ago, he had fought them in a secret war on a distant colony. That war was erased from public records. Government said it never happened, but he remembered. He had seen what Tyracons do. They didn't come to talk. They came to steal minds. Rayan entered a locked room beneath the city, hidden deep underground. The walls were metal. A long table stood in the center, covered in weapons and old files. Rayan opened a drawer and pulled out a dusty file. It had the symbol of the Tyracon Empire on it. "Planet Dulfer 7, he read. "Peace talks." Then a slaughter. All leaders gone in one night. He slammed the file shut. "This is the same plan." A voice came from behind. "You always were paranoid, Commander." Rayan turned fast. A man in a clean suit stood at the door. It was General Harker, head of Earth Security. Rayan frowned. "You shouldn't be here. And you shouldn't be watching a diplomat without orders," Harker said. "Your time is over. Let the new generation handle this." Rayan walked past him. "You have no idea what's coming." As Rayan disappeared into the dark tunnel, Harker's face changed. His skin rippled. His eyes turned red. He wasn't human anymore. Upstairs, Sarah Lynn stood on the peace platform, giving a speech to hundreds of guests. Lights flashed, cameras rolled. Her voice echoed in the hall. "Together we walk into a new future." Suddenly, a high-pitched ringing echoed in her ear. She froze. The crowd became blurry. Rayan ran through the side hallway of the building. He had one goal: reach her before they did. 2 guards blocked the path. He slowed. "Step aside," he said. "No one goes near the diplomat." One guard replied. Rayan noticed their eyes. Cold, too still. He grabbed the first guard's arm and twisted. Metal cracked under the skin. Sparks flew. "They're here!" Rayan shouted. The second guard's face opened. Not a scream, a hiss. Razor teeth. Red wires. He lunged. Rayan rolled back, pulled a hidden knife, and stabbed the creature in the neck. Purple blood spilled. More were coming. Sarah stood behind the curtain, dizzy. Her assistant ran toward her. "Are you okay?" Sarah nodded slowly. "Something's wrong." Rayan burst in, blood on his hands. "Get away from her!" He yelled. The assistant turned. Too late. Her skin melted. Her arms became sharp blades. She screamed in a deep alien voice and jumped toward Sarah. Rayan tackled her to the ground just in time. "Stay behind me," he said. He fired a small pulse gun. It hit the creature and threw it across the room. Smoke filled the air. Sarah stared at Rayan. "Who are you?" she asked. "Someone who remembers the truth." Rayan pulled her to her feet. "We have to move, now." They ran through the lower corridors. Behind them, the sounds of metal feet echoed. "They're not just trying to kill you," Rayan said. "They want what's in your mind." "My mind?" Sarah asked, breathing fast. "They planted something, a tracker, maybe a scanner. You were their real mission all along." Sarah stopped. "Then why save me?" Rayan looked at her. His eyes were tired. "Because once, someone saved me." They reached a steel door. Rayan punched a code. It opened to a hidden elevator. The floor rumbled. The city shook. "They've called a bigger ship," Rayan said. This was just the start. As the elevator rose, Sarah looked at him. "I thought I was building peace." "You were," Rayan said. "But peace only works when both sides want it." Suddenly, the elevator stopped. Lights flickered. Voices came from above. Rayan handed her a small disc. "If I don't make it out, give this to no one except Admiral Pierce." "No one." She took it, shaking. The ceiling broke open. 3 Tyracon warriors dropped down. Rayan rushed forward without fear. He fought with speed, using every part of the narrow space. He kicked, rolled, struck. Sparks flew. Metal cracked. One creature stabbed his side. He grunted, twisted, and slammed it into the wall. The last one growled. "You're not just human." Rayan bled, but smiled. "I'm something you forgot." He headbutted the creature and it fell. The elevator moved again. When it opened, they were on a rooftop. A small ship waited. Rayan helped Sarah inside. He leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "You'll be safe up there," he said. She grabbed his hand. "Come with me." He looked into the sky. Not yet. The ship rose. Sarah looked down as Rayan disappeared into the smoke. The next morning, news broke. The Peace Summit had been attacked. Earth declared an emergency. Sarah Lynn survived. But no one could find Rayan. Cross. Some say he died saving her. Others say he's still out there, watching, waiting. Because the Tyracons will return, and this time, they'll be ready. Smoke still hung in the air over New Geneva City. The Peace Building was quiet now. Empty chairs, burned walls, broken metal. But the war had only just started. Rayan Cross moved through the city's dark tunnels alone. Blood soaked the side of his coat. He didn't stop. Not yet. He had one goal now. Find the Tyracon weapon before it was activated. Above ground, the world was confused. The attack was being called a terrorist event. No one knew the truth. No one except Sarah Lynn and the few who still trusted RYEN.in. A dark, hidden chamber beneath the city. Rayan connected his pulse scanner to the wall. The device lit up blue, then purple. It scanned the metal and beeped 3 times. "They've hidden something here," he whispered. He pulled out a small cutting tool and began slicing through the wall. Sparks flew. Smoke rose. After a few minutes, a panel dropped open. Inside, he found a silver orb covered in glowing alien symbols. Rayan stared at it. His jaw clenched. "This is no bomb, it's worse." The orb was a neuropulse transmitter, a forbidden Tyracon device. Once activated, it would send a mind wave through every human in a 10-mile range. It could freeze thought, wipe memory, or even implant commands. Rayan had seen it before on the planet Cyros. It had turned an entire city into silent slaves. He touched his earpiece. "Sarah, do you hear me?" Her voice came through, soft and shaky. "I'm here. Are you okay? Tell Admiral Pierce to check for energy signatures near every summit building. They planted a transmitter." She paused. "How many?" "I don't know," Rayan said. "But even one is enough." Suddenly, he heard a noise behind him. Footsteps. Soft. Slow. He turned fast, gun raised. A young girl stood there, maybe 12. Dressed in a white dress, eyes wide. "Help me," she whispered. Rayan narrowed his eyes. "You're not real." The girl blinked. Her skin shifted. Her arms stretched. Metal claws appeared. He fired once. The creature flew back, slammed into the wall, and fell apart. "Shapeshifters," he muttered. "They're getting smarter." Rayan picked up the orb and placed it inside a lead case. He needed to find out where it came from, and how many more existed. He reached an old military safe house near the edge of the city. Inside, the lights flickered. Dust covered everything. But the power was still working. He placed the orb on the table and connected it to a decryption scanner dot. As the device ran, he walked over to the mirror. He removed his coat. His shirt was soaked in blood. A long wound across his ribs. He grabbed the medical patch and pressed it to the wound. Breathing hard. "You're getting slow," he whispered to himself. The scanner beeped. Rayan turned. On the screen appeared a map, the locations of 4 more transmitters, all near major cities. "This isn't about Sarah," he said slowly. "It's about the world." The Tyracons wanted more than her mind. They wanted the minds of Earth's leaders, scientists, and military heads. Suddenly, the lights went out. Rayan froze. From the darkness came a voice. Calm. Cold. "Still playing soldier, Commander?" Rayan turned slowly. A figure stepped from the shadows. It wore a human face, but the eyes glowed red. It was Harker, or what had once been him. "You're not General Harker anymore," Rayan said. "I'm better," the creature replied. "Harker was weak, you saw it. That's why we chose him." Rayan grabbed his knife. "You chose wrong," the creature laughed. "You can't stop this. You're alone. Your body is breaking. You're out of time." Rayan moved fast. Knife in hand, he lunged forward. The creature blocked, kicked, and countered. The two fought in the dark, fists and steel colliding. Rayan ducked a blow, rolled, and stabbed the creature's side. Sparks flew. "You never learned to fight dirty," Rayan growled. The creature screamed and fell backward. Rayan didn't wait. He grabbed the orb case and ran. He reached the rooftop and jumped onto a black hoverbike. The city lights flashed below him as he rode through the wind. His earpiece buzzed again. "Rayan, they're after me," Sarah said. "I'm in Sector 12. My guards turned on me." "Hold on, I'm coming," he replied. He turned sharply and headed north. Below, Sarah ran through an alley. Her dress was torn, her face bruised. Behind her, 3 Tyracon warriors walked calmly. Knowing she had nowhere to go, she reached a locked gate and slammed into it. "No," she whispered. The creatures raised their weapons. Then a flash of blue light. A bike flew through the air and crashed into the ground. Rayan jumped off mid-flight, rolled, and fired 2 shots. The first Tyracon fell. The second charged. Rayan threw a flash bomb and covered Sarah. The explosion blinded the aliens. "Come on," he said, pulling her up. They ran through the alley together, dodging gunfire, jumping fences, moving like shadows. They hid inside a junkyard. "I told you to stay away from the city," Rayan said. "I needed answers," Sarah replied. "They told me I was the key." "You are. That's the problem." She looked at him. "What are you really, Rayan? You don't bleed like normal. You don't fight like normal." Rayan sighed. "Long ago, Earth was losing a secret war. They made people like me. Project HUMAN. Enhanced, modified, controlled. But when the war ended, they shut us down, buried us. I escaped." Sarah was silent. "I'm not proud of what I am," he said. "But right now it's all we've got." She placed a hand on his arm. "I trust you." He nodded once. As the sun began to rise, Rayan and Sarah stood at the edge of the city, watching as security teams arrived. He handed her the orb case. "Take this to the High Council. Tell them everything. Show them the files. The truth can't wait anymore." She took it carefully. What will you do? Rayan looked out into the distance. They'll keep coming. And I'll keep stopping them. She smiled. Then maybe there's still hope. Rayan turned and walked into the shadows, disappearing once again. Behind him, the sky turned red for just a moment. Something else was coming, and he was ready. Rain poured over the silent city. Neon lights flickered in puddles. The streets of Sector 9 were nearly empty, except for one tall figure moving carefully through the shadows. Rayan Cross didn't trust the silence. The city felt wrong. He stopped under a broken street lamp and scanned the area. His coat was soaked. His pulse scanner blinked slowly in his hand, searching for Tyracon energy. Nothing yet. They're hiding, he whispered. Or worse, they're blending in. Far across the city, Sarah Lynn sat inside a government safe house. The room was small, cold, and filled with nervous guards. Cameras pointed in every direction. The orb case Rayan had given her was locked inside a steel briefcase. But Sarah wasn't relaxed. Every time she looked at the guards, she noticed something odd. One didn't blink for a long time. Another tilted his head at strange angles. And the third never smiled or changed expression. She spoke quietly to her assistant Nadia, who stood by the door. Have these guards been checked? Nadia nodded. Yes, ma'am. Full scan. No threats. Detected. Sarah frowned. Something feels off. One of the guards, a tall man with a scar on his cheek, stepped forward. Ma'am, we've been instructed to move you to the next secure point. Orders from command. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Which command? He didn't answer right away. She stood slowly. Let me make something clear. If you don't answer, in the next 5 seconds, I will consider this a breach of security. The guard didn't move. Then suddenly his skin rippled. Sarah gasped and stepped back. Code red! She shouted. Nadia pulled her weapon, but it was too late. The guard's face opened into 4 sharp plates, revealing glowing red eyes and a snake-like mouth. The 2 other guards drew alien blades. Just then, the windows shattered. Smoke bombs rolled into the room. Gunshots echoed. Rayan burst through the smoke. Get down! He yelled. He shot the nearest creature in the chest. Sarah dropped to the floor as chaos exploded around her. Rayan moved like lightning, striking, dodging, firing. One by one, the creatures fell. Purple blood splattered across the walls. When the room fell silent, Sarah stood, coughing. You always arrive in the middle of a fight, she said. Rayan checked her for injuries. You okay? She nodded. What are they now? Guards, assistants, generals, anyone could be one of them. Rayan looked at the broken bodies. They've perfected it. Their skin tech. It's advanced, almost impossible to detect. He looked her in the eye. From now on, trust no one. They moved the orb case to a secret underground lab. Only a few trusted engineers were allowed inside. One of them, an old friend of Rayan's, greeted them. His name was Dr. Morzin, a quiet man with kind eyes and shaky hands. I never thought I'd see one of these again, Morzin said, studying the orb. Tyracon tech. It's alive. Sarah stepped closer. Alive? Yes, it reads the minds around it. Learns, waits. If we had activated it, it would have mapped every brainwave in this building. Rayan crossed his arms. Can you stop it? Morzin nodded slowly. I can deactivate it, but there's something else. I found a hidden file inside its core. It's a list. Rayan leaned in. Of what? Human names, Morzin replied. People they've already tagged. People they're controlling. Sarah looked shocked. How many? Dozens. Maybe more. Politicians, soldiers, scientists. Your assistant's name was on it too. Rayan's eyes went cold. Nadia? She passed the scans, Sarah whispered. No, Rayan said. She passed because the scans are old, outdated. The Tyracons adapted. Rayan moved fast. He tapped his come link. Nadia, where are you? No answer. He turned to Sarah. She's gone. They checked the cameras. Nadia had left 20 minutes ago, carrying a small case, identical to the one holding the orb. She switched it, Sarah said, furious. We're holding a fake. Rayan grabbed his gear. We need to find her, now. They tracked her through the city's eye traffic systems. Nadia had entered a building near the edge of the spaceport, an old abandoned hotel once used for off-world diplomats. Rayan and Sarah reached the building by nightfall. The rain had stopped, but the sky felt heavier. Inside, the halls were dark. Dust danced in the flashlight beams. They moved quietly, step by step, room by room. She trusted me, Sarah whispered. She worked with me for 5 years. She's not your friend anymore, Rayan replied. She's just wearing her skin. Suddenly, a noise echoed. A soft humming. A voice. Rayan signaled for silence. They followed the sound into the ballroom. There, in the center, stood Nadia. She was surrounded by small floating devices, drones. All glowing red. The real orb floated above her hands, spinning slowly. I knew you'd come, she said. Sarah stepped forward. Why, Nadia? Why betray us? Nadia smiled, but her eyes glowed. Because peace is a lie. Earth isn't ready. But the Tyracon will make it ready. Rayan raised his gun. Turn it off, now. I can't, Nadia said. It's all ready. Awake. In 2 minutes, every human leader in this city will forget who they are. The drones began to move. Rayan shouted, Take cover. Gunfire filled the room. He rolled behind a pillar. Sarah ducked. Rayan took down 2 drones quickly, but more kept coming. He tossed a smoke grenade and ran straight toward Nadia. She screamed and fired a strange alien weapon. Rayan dodged, jumped, and tackled her hard. They crashed into the ground. The orb fell and rolled across the floor. Sarah ran for it. Nadia tried to stop her, but Rayan held her down. Too late, Nadia growled. You can't stop it. Sarah reached the orb. She remembered what Dr. Morzan said. The device read thoughts. She closed her eyes and thought of Rayan, his sacrifice, his pain, his fight to protect people. She poured those memories into her mind. The orb glowed. Then. It blinked once and powered down. The drones dropped to the floor, lifeless. Rayan stood slowly. Nadia's body was changing, cracking. Her skin peeled away. She hissed in pain. Then she stopped moving. Rayan looked at Sarah. You did it. Sarah stared at the orb. I just remembered who we are. Later that night, Sarah stood before the United Command Council. She told them everything. The attacks, the shapeshifters, the orbs. Some didn't believe her, but most did. The world began to change. New scanners, new defenses. People were warned, but in the shadows Rayan kept moving. He didn't stop, because he knew one truth. The Tyracons had learned to look like humans. And no one was safe. Not yet. The rain had stopped, but the fear hadn't. Rayan Cross walked slowly through the underground tunnels beneath the Capitol dome. The lights flickered above him. Cold air filled the space. He could feel something wasn't right. His instincts, sharpened from years of war, whispered danger. He stopped at a locked metal door and placed his hand on the scanner. It buzzed once. The lock clicked. Inside the room, Sarah Lynn stood alone, staring at a glowing screen. She turned when Rayan entered. I found something, she said. Her voice was quiet, almost afraid. Rayan stepped closer. What is it? She pointed at the screen. A digital scan showed something in her brain, a small, dark circle near the back of her skull. It's not natural, she said. It wasn't there last year. My doctors missed it. Rayan stared at it. That's a neural implant. Sarah looked pale. How long has it been in me? I don't know, he said. But if it's Tyracon tech, they've been watching your thoughts, maybe even controlling them. She looked away. That means every peace meeting, every decision I made, Rayan's voice was sharp. You weren't in control. There was silence for a moment. Sarah breathed slowly. Can we remove it? Rayan shook his head. Not without killing you. Tyrocon implants are wrapped around the brain stem. You try to cut them, they explode or erase the host's memory. She sank into a chair, so I'm a walking target. A weapon they planted without anyone knowing. Rayan crouched beside her. You're not their weapon anymore. You're aware now. That changes everything. Sarah nodded, wiping her eyes. Then we use it. Rayan raised an eyebrow. Use it? She looked determined. They're still linked to me, right? So maybe we can feed them false information. Rayan thought for a moment, then nodded slowly. Dangerous, but smart. Suddenly, an alarm rang through the base. Rayan stood up instantly. Security breach. He tapped his earpiece. Control, what's happening? A shaky voice responded. Unknown aircraft approaching. No ID. It's heading for your location. Sarah stood. They found us. Rayan grabbed his weapons. We have to move, now. They escaped through a side tunnel just before the ground above shook. Explosions roared in the distance. The Tyrocons weren't hiding anymore. They were attacking directly. Rayan led Sarah through the emergency escape route. A long, narrow corridor under the city. As they ran, Sarah asked, Why now? Why attack so openly? They're losing control, Rayan said. You're awake. The orb is destroyed. Their spies are exposed. This is desperation. They reached an old security checkpoint. The hallway opened into a steel elevator. Rayan hit the button, but nothing happened. Powers cut. He muttered. Then they heard footsteps. Not normal ones. Heavy. Slow. Measured. Sarah looked at him. That's not human. Rayan grabbed a wall panel and ripped it off, revealing the ladder shaft behind it. Climb, he said. They climbed in silence. Fast but careful. Halfway up, the wall exploded below them. A Tyrocon climbed into the shaft. Its silver arms clawing the metal like a spider. Rayan looked down, then pulled a small explosive from his belt. Keep climbing, he said to Sarah. She nodded, breathing hard. Rayan dropped the explosive. The blast lit the shaft. Metal screamed. The Tyrocon fell. They reached the rooftop minutes later. The city burned in the distance. Hover tanks rolled through the streets. Drones searched the sky. But there were still parts of the city untouched, still free. Rayan opened a hidden panel. On the roof. Inside was an old escape glider, dusty but functional. We fly from here, he said. Sarah looked over the edge. Where are we going? Somewhere they can't reach your signal, Rayan replied. A blackout zone. The glider launched them into the sky. Wind roared in their ears as the city lights shrank below. They flew over mountains and forests, finally landing in a snowy field near the edge of the Arctic sector. A small shelter waited nearby. No power, no tech, no cameras. Rayan helped Sarah inside and lit a fire. She sat on the floor, shaking from cold and shock. You okay? He asked. I don't know, she said. I can feel it now. The implant, it's buzzing. Rayan looked at her. Then they're trying to contact it. Sarah touched her temple. What if I let them, just for a moment? No, Rayan said quickly. That's too risky. But if they think I'm still under control, they might stop looking. Rayan hesitated. She added, You said it yourself. It's a dangerous truth, but it can help us. He finally nodded. We'll do it carefully. You give them one message, one lie. Sarah closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed. She focused her mind. Rayan watched her, ready to stop it if things went wrong. After a minute, she opened her eyes. They believed it, she said softly. What did you tell them? That I was heading to the Pacific Council. That I planned to gather all human leaders in one place. Rayan smiled faintly. Then that's where they'll go. Sarah looked up. Rayan, what happens when this ends? He didn't answer right away. He stared into the fire. "If we win, the world will need someone like you," he said. "Someone honest, strong." She leaned forward. "And what about you?" "I'm not part of that world anymore," he said. "I'm the thing that watches from the shadows." Sarah didn't like the answer, but she didn't argue. She knew what he meant. The next day, Rayan set up a trap. He contacted one of his old contacts, a deep space signal broker who owed him a favor. They sent a fake transmission to the Terracon fleet, confirming Sarah's false location. The bait was set. Now, they just had to wait. Rayan and Sarah watched. The skies together. And far above Earth, a fleet of Terracon ships moved away from the real target. The truth had become their greatest weapon. But Rayan knew it wouldn't last. The war had just begun, and trust had become the most dangerous thing on Earth. Snow covered the ground like a soft white blanket. The wind was cold and sharp, biting at their faces as Rayan and Sarah moved through the forest near the Arctic sector. Behind them, nothing but silence. In front of them, the unknown. Rayan held a small tracker in one hand. The green light blinked fast. "They found the signal," he said. "They took the bait." Sarah looked over her shoulder. "Then why do I feel like we're the ones being hunted?" Rayan didn't answer. He knew the feeling too. They moved faster, deeper into the trees. The shelter was gone now, burned by Terracon drones after the decoy message. Their only choice was to reach the old military rail line, a hidden underground tunnel that could take them out of enemy scan range. But time was running out. Suddenly, a sharp whirring noise cut through the silence. Rayan stopped. Drones. From the sky, small black machines dropped through the trees. Red lights blinked on their faces. They hovered, scanning. "Go!" Rayan shouted. They ran. The forest exploded with sound engines, gunfire, branches breaking. The chase had begun. Sarah ducked as a drone fired a plasma bolt. It hit a tree beside her, sending sparks into the air. She slipped on the ice, but Rayan grabbed her arm and pulled her up. "This way," he called out. They slid down a snowy hill and landed hard. A frozen river stretched before them, wide and smooth. "We have to cross," Rayan said. "No other path." Sarah nodded, breathing fast. "What if the ice breaks?" "Then we don't fall." They ran across the ice. Drones followed from above, scanning for targets. Rayan turned and fired. One drone burst into pieces, falling into the river. But the others moved fast, dodging every shot. Halfway across the river, a loud crack echoed. Sarah stopped. "Rayan." He looked down. A web of cracks spread beneath their feet. "Don't move," he said. Too late. The ice broke. Sarah screamed. As the surface gave way, she fell into the freezing water. "Sarah!" Rayan dove in after her. The cold hit him like knives. He grabbed her arm and kicked hard, pulling them both up. He pushed her back onto the ice first, then climbed out, shaking. They were soaked, freezing, and still being hunted. Rayan looked at her. "Can you run?" "I have to," she said through chattering teeth. They ran again, dripping wet and nearly frozen. In the distance, the old rail tunnel came into view, a dark hole in the ground hidden under a hill. "Almost there," Rayan said. Behind them, a strange new sound filled the air, a screeching engine. Rayan turned to look. A Terracon pursuit bike burst from the trees, sleek, fast, deadly. A warrior rode it, long blades on each arm, eyes glowing red. "It's one of their hunters," Rayan growled. "They sent a real killer." He pushed Sarah toward the tunnel. "Get inside. I'll stop him." "No," she shouted. "You'll die." "I've faced worse," he said. She ran. Rayan turned to face the hunter. The Terracon roared and sped forward. Rayan fired his weapon, hitting the bike's front, but it kept coming. The alien leapt from the moving bike and slammed into Rayan mid-air. They crashed into the snow. The weapon flew from Rayan's hand. The Tyracon slashed at him. Rayan dodged, rolled, and punched hard, but the creature was strong. "You're slowing down. Human," it hissed. "I'm still fast enough," Rayan replied. He grabbed a blade from his boot and stabbed the creature in the leg. It screamed and swung wildly. Rayan jumped back, but the Tyracon's arm hit his side. He felt something tear. Pain shot through him. Sarah stood at the edge of the tunnel, watching helplessly. Rayan was losing. She looked around and spotted the hunter's fallen bike. An idea formed. She ran to it, climbed on, and gripped the controls. Screen lit up. She pressed a few buttons. Nothing happened. The Tyracon turned toward her. "You think you can use that?" It laughed. Sarah didn't answer. She pressed the green button. The bike shot forward. Straight at the creature. Rayan saw it coming and rolled away. The bike slammed into the Tyracon and exploded. Flames lit the sky. Sarah was thrown backward. Rayan crawled to her, coughing. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, eyes wide. "You?" He looked down at his side. "Blood. Lots of it." "We need to move," he said. They entered the tunnel and sealed the door behind them. Darkness swallowed the space. Rayan turned on a small light. The walls were covered in frost and rust. The rail line stretched into darkness. They walked slowly. Every step echoed. Sarah looked at him. "You're bleeding too much." "I'll survive," he muttered. "Stop pretending," she said. "You're not okay." Rayan sat down against the wall. "You're right." She sat beside him, back. "There. You saved me," he said. She smiled. "I had a good teacher." They stayed there for a while in silence. Then Rayan spoke again. "There's something you should know." "What?" "I wasn't just built for war. I was built with a limit, a time limit." She frowned. "What do you mean?" "My enhancements," he said. "They don't last forever. My body is breaking down." That hit from the hunter. It sped things up. Double quotes. Tears filled her eyes. "You're dying?" He nodded once. She looked away. "You never told me." "Didn't want to," he said softly. "Didn't want to be the story. You are." She grabbed his hand. "We're the story now." He gave her a weak smile. "We still have work to do," she said. "We end this, together." Rayan looked into the dark tunnel ahead. "Then we keep running." And they did, through the cold, through the pain, through the chase, because they knew something bigger was coming, and the end was only the beginning. The cold tunnel stretched before them like a dark wound. Rayan's breath came heavy, each inhale burning his lungs. Sarah pressed close, her eyes sharp, scanning every shadow. "We can't stop now," Rayan said, clutching his side where the wound throbbed. "They're closing in." Sarah nodded, gripping the orb case tighter. "We need to reach the communication hub. Last contact point with Earth's fleet." A soft rumble echoed above. The city trembled. The Tyracon assault was growing fiercer. Suddenly, the tunnel's lights flickered on. Figures appeared ahead, soldiers, but their movements stiff. "Unnatural. Shapeshifters," Rayan whispered. One stepped forward, voice cold and empty. "You cannot escape. Surrender now." Rayan raised his pulse gun. "Not today." The chase exploded into violence. Bullets and plasma crossed the air. Sarah ducked behind a pillar, heart pounding. She saw Rayan grapple with a creature, their fists locked in deadly struggle. Suddenly he broke free, sending the creature crashing into the wall. "Keep moving," he shouted. They ran faster, breath ragged. The communication hub was close, a fortress of metal and wires. As they reached the heavy doors, Sarah's earpiece crackled. "Sarah, this is Admiral Pierce. Your signal is fading. What's your status?" "We're inside," she whispered, "but surrounded. Hold your position. Reinforcements are 5 minutes out." 5 minutes. Rayan placed the orb case on the floor and connected it to the console. A faint glow spread through the room. "We can send one message," Rayan said. "One last contact." Sarah looked at him, fear in her eyes. "Will you make it?" He smiled weakly. "I've got one more fight in me." The doors exploded inward. Tyracon warriors poured in, blades shining, eyes burning. Rayan stepped forward, blocking the way. "Go, send the message." Sarah pressed the consoles button. The room filled with static, and a voice began to speak. A call for help. A warning. Behind her, Rayan fought fiercely, each move a blur of desperation and strength. A blade slashed his arm. He stumbled but rose again. Sarah's message was sent, outside. Distant engines roared. Reinforcements were coming. Rayan looked at Sarah. "You have to leave. Finish this." Tears streamed down her face. "I won't forget you." He nodded once. With a final roar, Rayan charged the enemies, buying her the time to escape. Sarah ran through the corridor, heart heavy but hope alive. The war was not over, but Earth still had a chance, and some heroes never fade. Rayan Cross woke to a world burning. His body ached broken, weak but alive. Around him, broken machines hummed and sparks flew. He was in a hidden lab far from the battle's chaos. A faint light flickered overhead. Sarah sat beside him, her eyes full of relief. "You're awake," she said softly. Rayan tried to sit up but stopped. "The wound," Sarah shook her head. "They saved you. But you're still weak." He looked around. "What happened out there?" "The message got through," Sarah said. "Admiral Pierce's fleet is on its way. They're coming to help." Rayan's lips curved slightly. "Good." Suddenly, the lab's door hissed open. A tall man entered, his face cold but respectful. "Commander Cross," he said. "I'm Dr. Voss. I've heard stories." Rayan eyed him. "Stories don't win wars." "Doctor." Voss smiled. "Maybe not. But I have something that might." He pulled a metal case from his bag and opened it. Inside was a sleek, glowing suit. Advanced armor, unlike anything Rayan had seen. "This is Project Titan," Voss explained. "A human weapon designed to fight the Tyracons on their level." Rayan's eyes narrowed. "Why show me this now?" "Because you're the only one who can wear it. Your enhancements make you compatible, but you must choose." Sarah looked at Rayan. "This could save Earth." Rayan hesitated. "I'm already broken. This might kill me," Dr. Voss nodded. "Or make you stronger than ever." Rayan stood. Slowly, pain shot through his body. He looked at Sarah. "If I do this, will you stand with me?" She smiled fiercely. "Always." They prepared the suit. As Rayan stepped into the armor, power surged through him. Strength, speed, control. Labs shook as alarms blared. Outside, Tyracon forces were closing in. Rayan's voice was steady. "Let's end this." He burst from the lab, armor glowing blue, eyes burning with new fire. Tyracon warriors charged, but he moved faster than thought, smashing through them. The humans outside rallied, inspired by the sight. Rayan fought like a force of nature, unstoppable. The battle turned dot as the last Tyracon fell. Rayan stood tall, battered but victorious. He looked to the sky. "For Earth." Sarah reached his side. "You're the weapon we needed," Rayan smiled. "No, we are the weapons." The war was far from over, but hope was alive. The battle had ended. Cities lay in ruins, but the Tyracon forces had retreated. The skies were clear, yet the silence was heavy. Earth's people looked to the stars, wondering what would come next. Rayan Cross stood alone on a high ridge overlooking the destroyed battlefield. His armor was battered, and his breath came in shallow gasps. Around him, the ground was scarred and blackened, a reminder of what had been lost. Sarah approached quietly. "You did it," she said softly. Rayan shook his head. "No, we did it together." She looked out at the horizon. The Tyracons won't come back, he smiled faintly. They always come back. But this time, Earth will be ready. Sarah sat beside him. What happens to you now? Rayan looked at his hands. I'm the last of Project Titan, the last weapon built for this war. Others tried and failed. She touched his arm. You're more than a weapon. He nodded. I'm the one who stood when everyone else fell. A sudden alert sounded from Sarah's wrist communicator. It's the fleet, she said. They want to know if it's safe. Rayan stood slowly. Tell them yes, Earth fights on. They watched the ships descend, bright lights cutting through the dark sky. Sarah turned to Rayan. Will you join them? He smiled sadly. No, my place is here, watching, waiting, protecting. She nodded. The world needs you. He looked at her with tired eyes. And I'll be ready when they need me again. As the sun rose, casting gold over the broken Earth, Rayan and Sarah stood side by side. The war had cost much, but it had shown one truth. In the darkest times, only one must stand, and sometimes that one is all it takes.